Guys on the call?
Yes, sir. Sir, can you brief yesterday's some summary? Can you summarize, sir, yesterday's one?
Okay, no problem. So before we start, let me share my screen. Let me know once you guys are able to share my screen.
Yes, sir. We are.
Okay. So yesterday we talked about a user, normal user. So what we did was we went to Officify portal. So this is my portal. We went to users, active users, and we created a user. Right? So like add a user, provided the name. So display name, whatever we put over here, the same thing will come here. Username, we can select anything. Just putting cloud underscore user. Cloud only. Okay, we can create an automatic email. Sorry, password. Basically, if we select this one, then we will be getting auto-generated password, which will be emailed to the admin. Okay, that we can do. Since I have a on-prem domain sync with cloud, that is the reason I see my on-prem domain over here. Otherwise, if it's pure cloud environment, you will just see on Microsoft. Right? So for simplicity, I'm just putting on Microsoft.com. Then I can say I will have the password entered. Yes, if I select this one, next time when the user will log in, he will have to reset the password or he will have to change the password. And I can select this one to send the email, the password information to the admin or to the user, whoever I specify here, that email will go. Now, since a user will be a new user, normally it goes to uh, publicly available email like Yahoo or Hotmail, depending on what the customers, the enterprise or the business requirement is, or how the business operates. Sometimes they send it to their personal ID because the mailbox is not created yet, or sometimes they will just message them. They will create it and then they will message them, okay, this is the username and password, or they will send the information to the admin. Once the mailbox is created, then the admin will send the email to the user. So depending on company to company, the process differ. Then we'll select the location, which location because Officify is global, right? It's multi geo, means geographical location. So you can have one office in India, one in US, one in uh, Canada, and so on and so forth. But the thing is, you will be logging to the same tenant. You will have only one tenant, and that tenant, multiple users will be logging from different locations. That's the reason you can set the location over here, which location you want the user to be. Depending on the location selected, the data will be saved in that particular geographical location. Now, these are licenses. Licenses, we don't want to assign license because we'll talk about it later. If we are just creating a user without product license, and then we'll click on next. Now over here, we don't want this user to be admin. We just want this user to be a normal user. That's the reason we select user, no administrative access. Profile information is like when you create a user, you can enter the job title, department, phone number, street address, so on and so forth. If you don't select now, you'll be getting this option later. And then you can click on next. It will tell you this is what it's going to do. These are the users. This is the password. These are what type of license you have assigned, if any. What is the role of this particular user, and the profile edit information. If you want, you can still edit it. If you want to change the username, you can still do it. Okay. Any question on this?
No, sir.
Yesterday class.
We'll click on finish, and now the cloud user is active. Right now, there are separate templates we have. We can create templates. Sometime customers, right? They have their specific template which they want to use. So it's up to them what template they want to use. And then once this user is created, this is the normal process of creating a user. You can also create a user through PowerShell. We'll talk about that later. So once this is done, we can just come here and search for that user. If you see this user is present now. Right? So if you click on this user, it tells us what is the user details, right? The group he is part of, contact information, whether MFA is enabled or not, right? Office activation code and all this information we can see here. The devices which are registered, you can see those devices here. Then license and application which the user is assigned to. Right now there are 0 apps. Right? The moment I select Exchange Online, any license if I give, from that point of view, we will be seeing that many apps over here. For example, if I click on Office 365, I see 55 apps which the user will be assigned to. If I just select Power BI, I remove Office 365, then it's just one app, right? So these are for Teams calling and Teams resources. So these are separate. E365 does have Teams, but domestic calling and mobile, machine to phone calling, for that you require a license, a separate license. And then we have option here, like if you want to reset the user password, you simply go and again the same option, you say automatically create the password, or you can just add the password, enter the new password, so it will reset the password. Then we have block sign in. So if you click on block sign in, the user will not be able to sign in. But if he's already signed in to a system, he will not be kicked out unless you kill the token refresh token for that particular session, connected session. I mean, to delete the user will be deleted. Any question on this so far? Guys, let's have this session interactive, because that will encourage me to teach in more depth. So the more interactive session, the better for everyone.
No, it's okay.
Any
sir.
question, guys?
We got it. Move on.
So that's what we discussed last time. Okay. So let's move further now. Okay, so let's start with the type of recipients we have. Okay, so what do we mean by recipients? Recipients means the person who will receive that message or receive that communication, right? So in Office 365 or Exchange Online, we have multiple recipients. And yesterday we talked about user mail. Now we have just created a user. So the user will be able to log in to the machine for that particular tenant, right? So for example, to logging to the portal or logging to an application for that particular domain, he can be using that particular user, but he doesn't have a mailbox. To receive emails, you need a mailbox. For sending email, there is no requirement that you need a mailbox, but for receiving an email, you need a mailbox. So a mailbox, I think everyone has a mailbox, right? You have Yahoo account, that is an email ID. When you have an email ID, it means you have a mailbox. Somewhere in that particular service provider. So anyone who is providing you a service is called a service provider. So in case of email, it will be Yahoo, Hotmail, whichever company or whichever free services you're using. Those are your service provider, and you have a mailbox over there. So to receive email, you need a mailbox, and to create email, we in Exchange Online, we have to assign license. In Exchange On-prem, you simply need, when I say on-prem, it means you have physical server. So you go ahead and create a user mailbox in Exchange Online on-prem, right? So we talked about creation. Once we are done with these terminologies, so that we are aware of what these terminologies are. I think yesterday we went through user mailbox. I think we went till resources. Okay, so let's revisit them. So user mailbox, as you can now understand, that this is a requirement to receive emails. When we talk about Exchange and mailbox, sorry, Exchange Online, we are talking about mailboxes. Okay, we're talking about emails. We're talking about meetings, calendar scheduling, utilizations of sending emails to multiple people at in one single address, right? That is using a DL list or using group, Officify group, right? Those are some scenarios which we'll be talking about. And all the recipients which we're going to talk today are related to mailbox. Okay, so shared mailbox, as we discussed yesterday, shared mailbox is like a single mailbox with an account being disabled. So when we say account disabled, it means user will not be able to log in. He will not be able to log in to portal. He will not be able to log in to this particular account. So share mailbox normally is used to share information. A user has to have full access permission on this share mailbox. Then only he will be able to add that share mailbox to his profile. And then he can send email or receive email. So whenever someone is sending email to the share mailbox, all the members of that share mailbox will be receiving that email. We'll understand it much better once we do practical. Then we have mail contacts. Mail contact is like someone who is outside of your Exchange organization, right? So he's not in your tenant, he's not in your organization. So if you want to have that particular person added to your meeting, or if you want that particular person to know who are the people in your organization, set meeting with them. Like you have a client, right? You want your client to be communicated through meetings. So if the client want, they can set a meeting with you. So they should be knowing who are the people in your tenant, right? Or who are the people with whom he need to set the meeting. So in that, the client is not a part of your organization. He's an external user. So you're going to create a mail contact in which an external email ID will be added. We'll talk about it during our session. Then mail user. This is similar to mail contact, but basically we create a mail user if you want to give some sort of resource usage of your environment. For example, if you are merging two companies, right? Now you don't want to give mailbox created in two places. You want the for example, yours is company A, company B user is being merged with your company. Now company B has their own mailbox, so you don't want to create another mailbox. You don't want the user to be confused with two mailboxes, but you want them to be able to use the resources. When we say resources, like printer, projector, and all those things, or any other resource like having access to global list or having access to server, right? In those scenario, the user should be having some sort of control, right? So for having control, he should be part of your tenant. He should be part of your organization. So in that scenario, we create a mail user. So a mail user is different from mail contact. Mail contact can only send meeting invites or see who are the users in your organization. He cannot utilize any resources. And it has to be an external email address. Mail user is like an internal one, right? It can be a mail enabled user, or it can be just be a mail user. So mail user is without a mailbox basically, but he can utilize your organization resources. So the mailbox will be somewhere else, but you will create an account for him in your organization. So that way it works. For example, in hybrid scenario, you have a user mailbox on-prem, but you have a mail user created in cloud. So the user who is on-prem, though his account is created on-prem, his mailbox is on-prem, he can still utilize the resources from cloud. That's the use of mail user. Okay, we'll talk in details when we talk about mailboxes and practical part about it. Room mailbox, again we discussed yesterday. Room mailbox is something wherein you want to. It's like a mailbox wherein you won't be able to log in, but it will give you information whether the room is available for a meeting or not. Right? If how many people have booked it. So there are configuration which you have on the meeting, which you can do based on your organization requirement. Then we have equipment mailbox. Equipment mailboxes are the mailbox which are like a projector or whiteboard or audio video conferencing. So again, this is used when you are sending a meeting request and you require a projector during that meeting, right? So most of the organization, they have their resource. They don't have projector in every room, or they don't have audio video conferencing in every room. In that scenario, you have to book equipment. You have to book those resources, right? For that, we use equipment mailbox just to make sure the resource is available or not, or when it is available, so that you can schedule it accordingly. Now, distribution group, also known as the DL, right? So it is like you create a distribution group, and in that distribution group, you add the users. So when you send an email to the distribution group, all the users who are part of that particular DL will receive that email, right? And if you send an email to the distribution group, again the same thing. You send and receive. Basically, it is only able you use for sending emails, so that people in that particular group, right, rather than remaining 100 people or 50 people, email address, you create a DL and you just remember it. For example, IT, for IT support. In IP support, they can be 2 people or they can be 10 people or they can even be 50 people, right? So remembering each individual email address, again, if you even remember, if you copy it, copying that and pasting it into the sending bar, right? Where the two option is there, or the two place bars is there from where you're sending the email. So many people, it's very difficult to remember, or even if you copy and paste it, it doesn't look nice. In that scenario, you create a DL, wherein the user will be once you send the email to the DL, all the members of the DL will receive an email. Now, mail enabled security group. Now, what is the difference between distribution group and mail enabled security group? Now, as the name suggests, security group means you have certain privileges, right? So, for example, if you want to give some permission to a particular person, right, or you want resource access, so that in that scenario, DL will not work. You have to have a security group, mail enabled security group. So in which case, if you give permission to the group, all the members in that particular group will get the required permission. For example, there is a folder that is locked, right? You want only these users to be able to access those folders. So you will give permission to the on that folder to a security group, and indirectly or indirectly, basically, all the users who are part of that security group will get that permission. Any question on this so far? Whatever we have discussed so far, any question anyone has?
No question, sir.
Then we have dynamic distribution groups. So the difference between dynamic and normal or mail enabled distribution group or normal distribution group is that in distribution group you have to enter the user manually, and dynamic distribution group is like it's check if what's the parameter. For example, if you have created a dynamic distribution group for India, so any users whose country shows India will be automatically added to the distribution group. You don't have to go manually and add it. In normal distribution group, you have to add them manually. But in dynamic distribution group, those are added automatically, depending on what attribute you have selected. You have selected city or you have selected department. So any new user joining that particular department, and if you have a dynamic distribution group for that department, that user will be automatically added to it. Any question on that?
Sir, is it like a mirror ID which will give to this one critical
Mirror
user?
ID? No, it's not like a mirror ID. So can you explain what exactly do you mean by mirror ID?
Sir, actually, in my organization, when someone have to create a new user, they have to tell that this user is belong to this department. So that credentials can be used by this user.
So same credential.
Yeah, same. The permissions which is the other user have, so he can
Okay.
use that permissions.
Mhm. Okay, so basically that will be secondary groups. Normally, what you're saying is mirror copy means you're creating uh, a user which is there in the secondary group, or for example, user one. So is it on-prem or cloud?
On-prem, sir.
The organization is it on-prem, right? So yeah, in on-prem you just copy it, right? Right click on the user and copy it, so you get the same information. You just change the display name, right? But over here, when we say dynamic distribution group, that is different. So basically, a group is created and the user is added to this group automatically. Okay, we'll see in practical how it works. So
Okay.
for example, you have 5 people in this paint, so it will be better. Okay, so for example, you have one organization for IT. You have another one for suppose sales, right? Now there are 5 now in IT. So this dynamic distribution group is, or dynamic distribution group is uh, name is IT itself, and this is SA. So all the IT people are in, for example, India. Okay, so if all the people are in India, so what you do, you when you create a user, right? When you create a user in country, you put India. Right, the same way what you have entered for the dynamic distribution group. Now what happens is, if any user is created under India, right, 1, 2, or no matter how many, those users will be automatically added to this dynamic distribution group. So if you're sending email to IT, these users will automatically add the email, right? That is the use of dynamic distribution group. So you don't have to manually add it. If I add a new user, for example, this IT was created 5 years back. Now I've added a new user, and in that I have the country name as India. Suppose third user. So this user will be automatically added to this dynamic distribution. Is that clear now?
Yes, sir. Clear, sir.
Okay. Then we have Microsoft 365 group, right? Earlier it was known as Office 365 groups. So whenever you create a Teams, when you create Teams meeting, automatically this Office 365 group is created. This is as good as creating a shared mailbox, or creating a dynamic distribution group, but or dynamic distribution group. Dynamic distribution group has its limitation. Shared mailbox has its limitation. Group Office 365 group doesn't have any limitation. So when we say doesn't have any limitation, means you can share the data using chat. You can share the emails using the group, right? So this is basically a one entry to all your access. So basically, when you have Office 365 group, all your services, right, which you are using, like chat, or sending emails, or sending sharing information, all these things will be covered under Office 365 group. So we'll talk about details about Office 365 group once we go in detail. So basically it is called a collaboration group. So you can collaborate using Office 365 group very easily. You can add user who are outside of your environment, or outside of a tenant to Office 365 group, so that user can be so that user can also be part of that meeting, right? That's how it works. You have full control on it, whether you want external user to see your screen, or you want external user to join the meeting. There are settings of the meeting which we have. All those information or all those access um, can be provided to Office 365 group. It's very, I would say it's an advanced version of all your groups, and a combination of a shared mailbox as well, because you can even send email to Office 365 group. Okay. Then we have mail enable public folder. So public folder is just a name suggests, right? It's a public. It's available for everyone. So you can send email, you can receive email from public folder. So it's just like how you post, right? So like you have WhatsApp where you post the message or you receive the message. Similarly, you have public folder. So every member or every person who is a member of a public folder, he will automatically receive those emails. And that emails, or whoever sends email to a public folder, those members will be able to see that particular emails or conversation which is happening. So in old environment, we had public folder which people usually rely on because they wanted to store data somewhere, right, which is accessible for everyone. But now we have we have Officify group, we have also have SharePoint, wherein you can save file, you can design almost like your website, and share data, update data as you require, right? So on and so forth. So these are all about the recipients we have. Now we'll go and create each recipient one at a time. Any questions so far before we proceed?
No question, sir.
Okay. Okay, so the reason I came here is because it's a graphical one, so it makes view a little better. This is a third-party article. I've shared it yesterday also. So we talked about the email part. Recipient types. I think this is where we are. We were. So as you all know, Exchange Online, right? It is a shared environment where you have multiple users. We have multiple tenants, multiple companies sharing the resources, sharing the servers, sharing the disk, so on and so forth, right? So when we have a sharing environment, we have some control over it. We don't have total control over it. So some control means there are some restriction which we have, which we don't have in on-prem. For example, if you want to make any changes or move mailbox, right? In on-prem, you can directly move it. Earlier, we had an option of moving it in Exchange Online as well, but now we have to reach out to the backend team. So anything on the server, we have to reach out to the backend team to make those changes. But there is quite a lot of control which we have from administrator point of view, which we will learn in this session. So as I mentioned, we have any user or any service which we are using, right, needs some sort of access, right? So when you talk about access, we are talking about creating users, creating mailboxes. So everything which while creating user or mailboxes or shared mailboxes is known as a recipient. So every user which you create in Exchange Online, right, is a recipient of one form or another. Then in recipient type details, you'll come to know what are those users, what are those particular, I would say, types of that recipient. It's a normal user, it's a mail user, it's a mail contact, or whether it's a user mailbox, whether it's a group, right? So that comes under different type of recipient details. So to see this information, we'll have to run a PowerShell. So Exchange Online heavily depend on PowerShell. So we'll go one by one on that. First, let's create a user mailbox. And now this subject and all, we'll talk about that later on. So for getting information, we are using the get command. For setting information, we have set, and for adding information, we have add. So let's go one by one. Where is my server? Let me connect to my remote server. So while it's opening, let us go and check. I think it is open. It's an Exchange 2016 server. So in order to create a mailbox, what I have to do is I have to log into Exchange control panel, which is also known as Exchange Admin Center. So there is a URL for everything, right? So for this Exchange server, we have URLs. So we have HTTPS colon dot slash TCP. And the reason it's didn't open, it says script should be allowed, right? So we have to go setting and then we have to allow the scripts.
चाहा तो उसमें हवा फूट के ठंडी होती है हाँ।
गिरा तो क्या करते, वो लगा के बैठे बड़ा उसको लगाने के उसमें ढल गया तो साफ करते हैं।
Okay, so got it. So now we'll go for entering the user. This is my domain. So either I can have domain and user or email address or UPN, user principal name. The reason I'm showing you how to, why are we creating mailbox over here, so that you can understand when you apply a license, basically at the back end, what is happening. Right? So I click over here. This is recipient. These are the recipients. We have mailbox, groups, resources, contacts, shared mailbox, and migration means we are going to send the on-prem user to cloud, or we are going to migrate the user mailbox from on-prem to cloud. And then we have user mailbox. We have lean mailbox. We talked about that later on. So right now we just want to create a user mailbox. So for example, I'll say existing user. Right? If I already have I created a user, right? If you remember, this is my on-prem user, test2 M Khan. So I'll say select this user, click on OK. Okay, now all the information will be automatically populated I will not be getting this option because already I have created a user, right? So this all options will be disabled for me unless if I click a new user. Right now, if I click, if I want, I can see on more option what is, if I want this particular mailbox to a particular database. Database means it is a group of mailboxes, right? And that database reside on a particular hard disk. So I can create that. I can create an on-prem archive mailbox for this user, right? So if I click yes, so an on-prem archive mailbox will be created. I'll let you know what is the meaning of archive mailbox. So once it is done, I'll click on save. Right now, the user mailbox is created. Now, how will I confirm whether this user mailbox is created? Test to Khan. I can simply go over here. I can connect to my OVA. OVA is Outlook Web Access. It's browser based, just like you're connecting to your Hotmail on or your Yahoo or your Google account, right? You're basically using web-based portal, which is mostly known as OVA in Exchange environment, Outlook Web Access. So again, I have the same URL, but instead of ECP, I'll put OVA. Right now, since I've logged into an admin, my admin account is open. Right, I have to log off and then log in, or I can simply go and I'll say open another account, right, or open another mailbox. Basically, not an account, but a mailbox. So I know it was what was the name? Test to Khan. So now Test to Khan. @ on-prem.cm. Right, that's my email ID. I'll click on open. So why this error? Because I have not assigned full access permission to this user. If you remember, we talked about share mailboxes. So similar to share mailboxes, we have other concepts wherein we say the user should be able to have access on other user mailbox. It's like I want to access, for example, at our home, right? We share our belongings with our family members, right? So there may be a particular drawer or a particular cupboard which you are an owner or which is assigned to you, right? It's your wish whether you want your sister or your father or your mother to share that cupboard with you, right? So unless you give them a key, they won't be able to open it. Similarly, over here, I don't have access. This admin doesn't have access to this mailbox. He won't be able to open that mailbox. Okay, so in that scenario, let us directly open this from in private window. Okay. All right. Configuration. Okay, Chrome we have not added, right? So we'll start from Chrome. So we'll just put in TTS. Oh, my bad. Name.mhp. Okay, so now MHK on-prem / S2 Khan. Okay, so if you remember when we created this user, for this user, it seems we have selected change the password. Change the password when the user login, right? Because of that, we are getting this particular option. If you see somewhere, we have select, might have done it while creating a user. It's not showing here. You see this checkbox? Require password change on next login. Are we good here? Why am I showing you this? Because if you see over here, it is asking me the password, current password and new password, right? I will get this option only when while creating a user, you have selected require password change on next login. If this checkbox is not clicked when I'm creating a user, I will not get that option. That part is clear now, right? Or you have any question on that? Guys, you need to speak up. I hope I'm not the only one on this call.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So okay. Now why it gave me an error? Because of security requirement. Either I'm using my same password, which I've used earlier, or I'm not following the password restriction. We discussed yesterday about the password restriction, right? Which is like minimum 8 characters. Then it should not be simple, right? It should have alphanumeric alphabet and numbers. One character should be capital, and it should contain a special character. So the same we have to apply. First, I have to add my old password, which was given by my administrator. Then I'll set a new password. Okay, now I click on submit. So my password has been changed. I have to use my new password now. Now I'm creating this user mailbox for the first time, right? So it will ask me all the details. Where is this user mailbox located, right? The language which I'm using. So I'm selecting this language, the time zone which I am. Suppose I am using EST. The reason I'm using EST because I've created this tenant in US. EST is Eastern time zone. So yeah. Okay, I'll click on save. Now my mailbox is created and I will be able to send and receive email, right? So I'm sending email from here, like new mailbox, email message. To suppose I send it to admin HK. So that's my admin email address. Subject I'll put testing 2, 3, 4 test. So are you guys now aware how to create a mailbox or how a mailbox is created in Action on-prem? Any question on that?
No question, sir.
Sir, in our phones also they are giving some option this one. So can we use this same in our phones as well?
So phone which you are getting is a mail client. Basically, mail client means there is an application which is there on your phone, and you can use that mail client to connect to your mailbox, right? This is specifically to an Exchange Online on-prem server or to a cloud mailbox. right? Just like, for example, if I want to log on to my Hotmail account, right? I have to mention hotmail.com. Right, I have to log on to hotmail.com, or I have to mention mail.hotmail.com, right? If I click hotmail.com, it will tell me whether I want to log into my mailbox or where I want to log in, right? Spelling correct, right? Oh, well. Similarly, if I want to log in, if you see, I get this page, sign in. If I want to log into Yahoo, I have to mention mail.yahoo.com. So this is predefined URL, which are there. When you talk about mail, right? Mail account, basically it's an app which you have. And if you have a mailbox, you'll be directly using that app to connect to that mailbox. For example, if you see, I have something over called mail over here. This is my, not form. Okay, so the mail client is not there here. So normally you will have a mail client which is there on your phone, right? So when you click on that, that client will ask you for your mailbox email ID and the password. So when you enter the mailbox user ID and password, basically that is directly connecting to your Hotmail or connecting to your Yahoo or connecting to any of the mailbox which may be connected to your service provider. For example, if for Office 365 also, right? If you select mail and if you put the email address and the password for that email address, that mail client will connect directly to your mailbox. So what is the client basically? A client is an interface used to connect to your mailbox. So there are multiple clients. One is desktop client and one is your browser-based client. So when we talk about desktop client, we're talking about Outlook client. So we have specific client for connecting to the mailbox, right? So Outlook provide a rich connection. Where are we? Are we on? Oh, we are on. My bad. So this is my browser-based clients, OVA clients, right? Now let's talk about desktop clients. So for desktop, we have Outlook. Are we still on server? No, right? Let me minimize this. Okay, not allowed. So if I go to Outlook app, this is my Outlook app. This is my desktop app. So which means there is a software installed on my machine, and through that I'm connecting to my mailbox. When I just typing mail.mhaonprem.com/OVA, I'm connecting to a browser-based app, which means I'm not installing any application on my client or on my machine. A machine is also called a client machine. This is your laptop or your desktop. So when I'm connecting to an app installed on my device, it is called a desktop client, which is Outlook. Outlook is a client which we are using to connect to your mailbox, which has to be installed on your machine. So if you go to your control panel, right, you will see Office installed over there. So I go to my control panel, and if I go to programs, and features, so I will see Microsoft Office installed over here. See, so this is, if I have complete Office installed, obviously I'll be having Outlook as well. So this is how you'll come to know me. The PowerPoint, Excel, Word, calendar, not calendar. We have Outlook, These are the apps which are installed right now. These are pinned devices, pinned apps. That's the reason it's not showing. But select all the apps. You can see over here. You will see Outlook somewhere below under O. You see over here Outlook. So this is a physical app. You don't see anything over here, right? If I type Outlook, I'll see Outlook. If I type mail, this is the client you were talking about. This is a mail client, right? For this, you have to enter your username and password. You have to select which of the client you are using. You're using Outlook.com, Office 365 Exchange, Google, Yahoo, iCloud, or other account. POP and IMAP are the two type of protocols, just like SMTP we have, right? Exchange Online uses SMTP. Sorry, the email transfer uses SMTP, but Exchange Online or Outlook uses MAPI over HTTPS. Earlier, it was using RPC over HTTPS, which is called Outlook Anywhere, right? On local machine, it uses MAPI connection, or basically RPC calls. Those are. So this is what you're talking about mail client. These are the mail clients. So this is installed on your laptop as well, or sorry, on your laptop machine or on your mobile. To this which you connect. This is not supported by Microsoft. If there is an issue, when I say Microsoft, Exchange Online doesn't support it. If there is an issue with your mail, you'll have to mail client specifically. You reach out to Windows support. But if it's an issue with Outlook, if it's an issue with OVA, Exchange Online team will support it. Okay, let's guys, please raise your concern if you're not getting it, or if my explanation was not great.
Hello.
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Sir, if we are having like that our Rediff mail, right? Rediff instead of that Yahoo. So can we able to connect to that one also on Outlook or not?
Yeah, from mail you should be able to connect. No, Outlook, if you're connecting, you have to use POP account, right? So there is a different way of connecting. Outlook, MS Office, they all require license. Without license, you won't be able to. You will be able to use it for a few days, and then it will stop. So when we are connecting with Outlook for Rediff, Yahoo, or for Hotmail, right? Basically, we're using the legacy protocol, which are called POP and IMAP, right? So there is a separate procedure of connecting or creating a profile for that. I'll show you that. So we may differ, or we may get moved to a different direction, but this for your sake. So now I'm setting my account away, right? This way you can set up account, set an email account. Okay. So now instead of this, I'll select here. Okay. I think we missed the last screen. Let's do this way. Let's directly go to show profile, and then we'll go to add, right? In this, we'll create a new profile, for example, POP profile. It will say okay, and then we'll say manually create the account, right? Over here, we'll say POP or IMAP. We'll not select Microsoft, we'll say POP or IMAP. From here, you can add your Rediff for whatever account you have, right? Whether you're using POP or you're using IMAP, that way we can connect. So POP and IMAP both have their own advantages and disadvantages. In POP, you can download the emails from server to your machine. Once the emails are downloaded from the server to your machine, those emails you won't be available on the server. So if your desktop crashes, those emails are gone. So we'll talk about that later when we're talking about clients, right? For now, let's focus on the recipient type. Does that answer your question?
Yes, sir. Thank you. And here is one question. Okay. Sorry to asking you lots of questions today. Can I?
No problem. See, if you ask question, it will encourage me as well. Go ahead.
Okay, because nowadays there are so many accounts like the Gmail. These people, these are companies are providing that free of cost account, right? Here we have to go for the Outlook, so we have to pay for like that license fees, or it's like that. It's a paid services as compared to Google or
Correct.
Gmail. So why
Right.
we prefer this one?
So in Yahoo or Gmail, if you're going right, you have a company, right? You
Yes.
are a company, you own a business, and are you still do you still want to use this email address, which can be easily hacked, which can be easily, you don't have security control over them. You don't have control who whether if you want to give access to your machine, or if you want to have centralized control of how to share calendar and all those things, right? If you have no access on the mailbox, no control on the mailbox. If there is an issue at the server and if your mailbox is gone, your data is gone, no one is going to help you, because that's a free account. That's an agreement. If something goes wrong, it's gone. You have to create a new user account. But in case of, and second thing is there is no security, right? You may be getting spam email, you may be getting junk email, unwanted emails, malware emails. You may be getting virus in your emails, right? So you don't have any control on those emails. But in case of, if you're going for a paid service, right? If for a company, you want your data to be safe. Data is everything. So if, for example, if someone knows your CEO email ID, right? If if he's able to send email to you, and you don't have, you are not able to identify whether there is a impersonation done, whether someone is impersonating your emails or not, you may get uh, caught in that particular situation wherein your employee may, by mistake, transfer money, because you may send an email saying that, okay, I'm the CEO to your account team, and say that I'm so and so. So the moment they see the email address similar to the CEO, or same email address as the CEO, they will say, okay, this is the CEO email address, and CEO is telling you to transfer money. Who will say no, right? You may end up sending money. So, and that may not be a CEO. So that's a loss. That's a financial loss. Again, if someone sends email on your behalf to someone else, right, pretending to be someone else, and if you're in a business of selling or buying things, or you're trading, right? So in that scenario, your reputation is gone, because that particular person intention is to collect money or collect the information and sell it. So that's another reason. Third reason is you want to show the person with whom you're doing a business, right, that you're serious in business. You own this domain. You buy a domain. This mhkonprem.cm is a domain name. We have to purchase that domain. And then whether you're using Exchange Online or you're using Exchange On-Prem, doesn't matter. But you own that business. You're spending money on your business. You're spending money on your infrastructure. Right now in Exchange Online, you're not spending on extra infrastructure, but you're spending on per user basis. So per user, depending on which license you have to pay that amount. But in terms, what are you getting? You're getting security. I think last time in the first session I showed you. Not a problem. So if you see, I entered this domain account, right? This is my admin. So I have so much of security over here. If I go to my admins, I can control my users here. If my user account is online, right? And if something has happened to the user, means the user is sending malicious email, or sending spam email, or doing something in Exchange Online, that user will be blocked. I can block this user from here. I can control that from here. If I want to create a guest user, I don't want that user, and next time I can simply delete it, right? I can do multiple things. Like I can control whether I want to save, for example, if I go to security, right? I can control how I want my user to be using my the email mailboxes, right? I can say, okay, if this user, right, for example, if you're using this free service, if you have made some goop up, right? If you say sold some company information outside, how am I going to know whether you have done that, right? I have a control over here. I can check what are you sending outside, right? For example, I have sent company information outside and now I've deleted the email. Who will come to know whether I've done that, right? But if I have a hold on that particular mailbox, if I have a hold saying that none of these emails should be deleted, or if the email consists of credit card or contents of XYZ information, which is critical, like for example, bank number, or you say driving license number or credit card number, right? So I can block that email going outside. I can know who has sent that email outside. I have a report coming to me. What is happening? Who is doing what? If there are emails which are deleted, and for example, if I delete an email in my free account, and if it is permanently deleted, I don't see that in my recovery deleted item, that email is gone. But over here, if I have a hold on that email, right? If I put a hold on that email for 7 years, or if I say for unlimited time, I have not specified any year. But it means unless that email, even if the user deleted, it will be there in his mailbox somewhere. And as an admin, I can retrieve it. If there is a lawsuit, right? For example, if you're in business wherein you do dealing with people, and your customer says that, okay, I have not got an email saying that you have asked me to pay so and so amount, right, on time. Otherwise, I'll have to pay interest or XYZ, right? But if I have set the this thing, right, means setting in my account, sorry, in my system or in my environment, wherein I say all the emails which are there should be retained for 7 years, as an example, right? Or should be retained for if I'm doing e-discovery hold, right? So whenever this kind of emails are sent to anyone, that email will be saved in that e-discovery folder. If I'm doing a e-discovery search, sorry, e-discovery hold, so or in place hold, right? So in that scenario, what will happen is, even if the email accidentally I deleted, that email will not be going outside my mailbox. It will be showing somewhere in my mailbox, and my admin can search it anytime. So that's one advantage. So if you want to show that email, right, you have to show that email. You have to just inform the admin, and the admin will pull that email and send it over to you. In companies, external in countries like US, Canada, even in India, there is requirement for the companies to save 5 years of data, right? An email is considered to be one proof in legal code. So now, in order to save your data, you have to make sure that you have sufficient control on it. It should not happen that someone deleted the email and now you tell the company, okay, I lost that email. If the law enforcement agencies comes to know that you have lost emails, right, for people whose email should be saved, or if the company says, if the country law says every employee's email should be saved for 5 years, right, then in that scenario you have to save every employee's email. It's either you can use retention, you can use hold, or sometimes people use third-party tools like or some third-party providers like Xantas for journaling to save those emails. That's why people use journaling. Then you have certain other requirements, like for example, you want to share the data or send the email, right? But you don't want your intruder or your competitor to know what the email is about. You just want an email to be sent from your mailbox to that client directly. You have to send an encrypted email. That is not possible in your normal scenario. When you're sending an email on Yahoo or Google, there is a possibility someone can easily break into that email and read what the email has been sent. But in Office 365 or in Action on-prem, when you're sending the emails, you have an option of encryption. You have an option of IRM. You have an option of ADRMS, which are used to send encrypted email. Which means unless and until you have the required key to open that email, that you, even if you get that email, you will not be able to open it. If you're not the intended user, you will not be able to open that email, because when you send an email, that email is encrypted. It's in a form which is in hexadecimal form, so it's not in a normal readable form, and you can't convert it from hexadecimal to normal readable form. I think this much information is enough, right, to understand why we go for paid service.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Any other questions before we move further? So now this is how we open OVA, right? So when talk about OVA, means Outlook Web Access. So OVA is available for Exchange Online. It's available for Exchange On-Prem. For other services, we are using we are using uh, browser-based application. Basically, if you want to use Outlook, then you have to use POP or IMAP account to connect to those third-party service providers. Okay. So now we talked about emails. Now let's move further. So let's move on and check in Exchange Online how a mailbox is created. Okay, this was Exchange On-Prem. So we created a mailbox. Now Exchange Online. So let's go to our portal. Let me log off from here. This is my Exchange Online portal. So I have to log in again because I was not connected to the browser for some time, right? So, and it's an Exchange Admin Center, so it will disconnect me from connection. OA will still be there, but Exchange Admin Center will disconnect me after couple of after around 20-25 minutes. So I log in again to my Exchange. Oh, I'm sorry. So this is my Exchange Online. These are my mailboxes over here. Now these are the users who are already there, right? S2M Khan. This was the user. If you remember, we created a mailbox in Exchange on-prem, right? The reason it is seeing over here is because this is a sync account from on-prem to cloud. Now this is my if you see over here admin type, it says user mailbox. If you see test2 Khan, was it it's the user mailbox? This user mailbox is created in on cloud. Oh, I'm sorry. We are in on-prem only. It is my on-prem mailboxes. Let us go to cloud. Let me minimize this so that there is no confusion. Okay, here we are. So this is my Exchange Online. How can I know that? Because if you see, this is little different. It says Exchange Receive Admin Center. Okay, I go to Exchange here. There is no backsync from Exchange Online to on-prem. If you create a user in Exchange Online, you will not get any traces of that user in on-prem. But if you create a user in on-prem and it's a sync environment, you will get the user sync to cloud. So if you see over here, these are the recipients we have: mailbox, groups, resources, contacts, right? If I click on mailbox now, so these are the mailboxes I'm having in cloud, right? If I type over here, test2 Khan. So this is a virtual machine. So guys, it might take some time. Select For some reason, test is not search is not coming. We'll check it later. Let's go for creating a mailbox. So now this is like, sorry, my bad. This is Exchange Online. So in Exchange Online, we won't be able to create a mailbox over here. We have to assign license in Exchange Admin Center. So we have to go back to Exchange Admin Center. Where will we? Center. Oh yeah. So we have to select the user. So if you see, if I select test to Khan here, right? You can see this is a user and this is unlicensed. So this user is created on cloud, sorry, on on-prem, but there is no users, no license given to you over here. Now let us see if we have any other user created over here, like test. So these are the unlicensed user if you see over here, right? Or you can just simply filter over here. You don't want to see all users, you want to see only unlicensed users, right? So you will see that information over here. So this is, okay, I'm sorry. I started a test here. I'm just ready unlicensed user. So this many users are unlicensed, means they don't have a mailbox. Okay. So if I want to get a mailbox, what I have to do, I have to simply select that user, right? And I have to license that user. Click on license. E5 is the license I have. This is the license. Whatever license you have purchased, only that license will be available to you. So these are the license we have. I have purchased. Right? I click on this license and then click save changes. So once it is done, it will take some time. So what is doing in the backend? Basically, it is creating the mailbox for test one. Right? This is what it will be doing. I'll click on save changes. It takes some time for the mailbox to be created. Okay. And now if I go and see, it says Office 365 E5. Right? Now if I go to mailbox, I'm in Exchange, and if I check for mailboxes, I would be able to see that mailbox over here. You see test. So the mailbox is not yet provisioned. It will take some time. In ideal scenario, if a customer comes to us after creating the mailbox within 24 hours, we tell them to wait. So it takes 24 hours maximum to get the mailbox created once the license is signed, because it kicks a backend process. So for E5, if you see what are the licenses I have for E5, or what are the services I have for E5, there are a lot of services which I have for E5. Okay, so I can go back. Center, which is the test tool. But we applied to test one, right? So now earlier, if you see for test two, right? If you see, you don't have any app assigned over here. So apps is 0, right? This is the user. This is not a mailbox. But now we have assigned license to test one. So if you see for test one, and if you click on license app, you will see 55 apps assigned over here, right? And you will see a checkbox. So if, for example, if you don't want the user to use data service, you can just uncheck this. So this service will not be available to him. Azure Write Protection he doesn't want, so you can uncheck this. So this service he won't be able to use. If you don't want the user to use information barrier, which is a feature for Teams, right? That user will not be able to use information barrier. So if security is required, so everything which you talk about, right, needs a license. Every license has to be purchased. So this E5 license has this many services. So if person buys E5 license, this all features and services that particular user mailbox will be getting. Right? Teams, advanced security, and so on. I'll share with you a link in which you'll come to know what are the services comes under which license, right? And what is the price of that particular, what is the price of this particular service. Any question on this?
No question, sir.
Okay, so in on-prem, we have to create a mailbox. In Exchange Online, you have to apply a license. The reason for that is in Exchange On-Prem, you own the server. You purchase the license for that server. You purchase the license for your infrastructure, like your Windows machine, your Windows software. Then all the features which you're using, you're already paying. But in Exchange Online, you pay as per your use. If you have 5 users, right, you don't have to buy a server. You can simply purchase an Exchange Online subscription. If you have a domain, you can just register your domain to Exchange Online, and you can still use your domain name. For example, I can still I'm using MHK on this email address, right? mhkonprem.cm, right? If I don't have a domain, my domain, this is my domain which is purchased, right? So if I don't have this domain, I will be only getting on Microsoft.com, right? So which means for my customer, it still says that, okay, I am just using Office 365 services. I don't own a domain on my own. So I don't have a website on my own. So whenever you want a website, you need a domain. So anyway, you're going to buy a domain for your website, right? The same domain you can add to Office 365, and that's how you can have your domain name instead of on Microsoft to mhkonprem.cm, or it can be psf.com, right? Instead of mhkonprem, it can be psf.com. But you have to also verify your domain to show to Microsoft that you own that domain, right? Any clarity needed on this, on domain part? Any question on mailbox? Mailbox creation. How do you create a mailbox in Exchange Online? Guys, pick up.
Yes, sir, we know that.
Okay, then we'll move to the next part. So we create an Exchange mailbox. Now in manage mailbox over here, when we come to recipients and we check on mailboxes, we can manage the mailbox from here, right? If I click on this mailbox, and if I open it, I'll know what is what I got in user account, user active session over in admin center. The same thing I get in Exchange admin center, right? So I can check the organization details over here, who I directly reports, right? I can update the organization information here, title and all those things like we did in Active One. I can set up email forwarding. So if I want these emails to be forwarded, right, I have to make sure this forwarding is enabled over here, right? And once I enable forwarding over here, the emails will be sent to the email address where I have set the forwarding, right? Then send on behalf. So I have to give this permission. I have to set this on to whom I can send on behalf, right? If someone can send on behalf of me, I have to add that member. So if I add this member will be able to send on behalf of this user, Aisha Khan. Okay. So now we can say this user has a delegate access. For admin has a delegate access on Aisha Khan. So that's how you have managers, right? And for managers, you have delegates who can open their emails, reply to this email, set calendars, meeting. So this is how you do it. Then you have delegation. This is what I was talking about. Senders, send on behalf. These are the two options. You cannot have both. Either you can have senders or you can have senders. Senders means it is as good as the delegate sending email on behalf of the manager. Right? Send on behalf means it will mention, okay, this email is sent on behalf of the admin by so and so person. Then we have read message, right? Read and manage message. Basically, if you want to have a members, right? Okay, this user can read and send email on your behalf. You can add that member. So this member will be able to add. Basically, he'll be able to manage your mailbox, right? So, oh, sorry, I just confirmed this. So now this delegate is able to read and manage my mailbox, full access to my mailbox. Can read, send, Send on behalf is already there, right? So this permission he can do. Then we have setting for mailbox. Now, what setting I want for mailbox? Do I want the mailbox to forward email? Like, can I set whom I can forward the image? So, for example, if I want to set forwarding on, I have to set it to on. It is off right now. And to whom I want to send it? If I say admin MHK should be getting all my emails forwarded, and I want a copy a forward email, means I want to keep a copy of this email, and again I want to send an email, right? So this is what I will do. I will make the changes over here. I close it by mistake. From here also I can directly go message delivery restriction. Now this restriction is like access message from all senders. Selected senders. If I only want to receive emails from few people, I select this one. So whom I should receive email, I'll add this over here. So anyone sending email from outside, I will not be able to receive emails from them. Right? Then requires senders to be authenticated. Right? If I select this, the user should be someone who is from my organization, or even if it's coming email from outside the organization, that person should be authenticated. It should not be like an application sending an email, right? Then I can select senders who can send me the email. Sorry, whom I can send the email, right? This I can do. Select senders. I can select the senders over here. Okay, these are the senders who will from whom I should not be receiving any message. So if I select any one of them, even if they send a message email to me, I will not receive it because I blocked them. If I say no, I will be getting emails for everyone, right? These are settings we have. Then we have hide from address list. So what is the meaning of this? If I select this, right, hide from address list. So basically I am setting hide. I will not be able to search this user from GAL. So GAL means global address list. So if I go and search in Outlook, right? So if, for example, if I want to send an email in from Outlook, and if I say on for this user, I click save, right? Now this user mailbox is there. This user will be able to send and receive email. You will be able to send and receive email to this user. But when you search for this user from your email account, okay, still coming. It will take some time. So let's give it 10-15 minutes. After that, you will see that this user will not be able to, you won't be able to see this user in GAL unless you have full access to this user. Now, this admin has full access to this user. I think we created a separate account, right? Let us create a new account. Not account. Basically, we want to log into a test account and search for Aisha. What was the email I sent? So see, it will not be, he will not be able to search for this user Aisha now. Why? Because we have hidden it from Gal. Then we can edit the contact information, email address if you want, right? You can change this from on Microsoft or mail.on Microsoft. Basically, on Microsoft is the one we'll use. But since we have already purchased this domain, I'll let it for mhkonprem.com. Then mailbox delegation already we saw. Then convert to shared mailbox, right? So what is the meaning of convert to share? Okay, let's create a shared mailbox. So we have to go back here. To recipient. Go to groups. These are the groups we have. This is Office 365 mailbox, which we can create. This is distribution group which we are talking about. This is this dynamic distribution group which we're talking about, and this is mail enabled group which we have. Right now, this mailbox which we have over here. So, for example, we created a mailbox now, right? And we want to convert it to a shared mailbox. We can simply click on that mailbox. We can click over here and we can simply change from here, convert to shared mailbox. So what happens if I convert this mailbox to shared mailbox? The mailbox type will change. The mailbox details will change. Okay. So it will say, do you want to convert the mailbox? I say confirm. So what is the advantage of this? Converting a mailbox to a shared mailbox? I can simply remove the license now. So I don't need a license for a shared mailbox up till 50 GB of data. After 50 GB, I will need a license. If I'm making any changes, like if I want to use archiving and all those features, then I need license. Otherwise, I don't need license for a shared mailbox, which is less than 50 GB. So this is how you will convert a mailbox into a shared mailbox. Okay. Let's go to other version. Next, what we talking about was groups. So let's add a group. Right now, what type of group you want? You want Office 365 group, you want a distribution group, your mail email security group, or dynamic distribution group, right? So if I select Microsoft 365 group, it will create a Microsoft 365 group for me. I can just make O365 my O365 group. Next. Now need to assign owner to Office 365 groups. I'll say admin and admin MHK add. So these two are the owner. Now I have to add members. So I can add members over here. I'll say the owners are already members of the group already. Then AD user, not only user. So I'll say add 5 people. Now these users are part of this Office 365 group now. So I'll say next. Now settings. So what is the group ID I need? Right? So I'll just put the same name I can put, or I can put any other name. O365 group. Right? So privacy. Now whether you want public means anyone can join the group, everyone will be able to see this group, or anyone can join or can come out of this group. If I say private, I say no. Only added members will be able to see the group, or they will be able to send or receive emails from this group, or they will be utilizing this for calendar and all those things, right? But all owners should have license for this. So if you want external users to connect to this group, you need to make sure that it's public, not private. Okay, let's say public. Let's say create a group. I think few of our members don't have license. Oh, where's that? Let's close the thing which we don't need. And always remember, Exchange online is a dynamic environment. Things keep on changing over here. So what you see in this particular interface or this particular page, you may see maybe after 2 months, 3 months, or 6 months, you'll see a different page. But that will be communicated to the customer of what are the changes we are making. So we were at groups. The group we made. Setting. We made it public. Edit, manage delegates. If you want, you can do that. Edit delivery management. You can do this as well. So no, really decline messages from no sender. If you want to decline messages, you can simply say only senders in the following list should be able to send emails. You can put a DL or you can put a particular user over here. And then accept messages from all senders. Everyone will be, if you will be able to, this particular group will be able to receive message from anyone. But if you want to be specific, you can do that as well. So normally, instead of doing from here, we simply say it's better to make it private if you want restriction on it. Okay. Then we talk. So right now you see one owner, 4 members are part of this group. Okay. Then we can create distribution list as we talked about. So add a group. We can say distribution group. Next, we say my DL or my DG. Again, the same thing, assign owner. Then we'll go for members, add members over here. These 4 members are part of the distribution group now. My DG. Now, how we want this distribution group? It should be open, like anyone can join this group without owner approval, or it is closed. Means only owner will be the one who will accept whether that user can be added as a member or not, right? And in that, you'll say owner approval. So in this closed one, everyone will decline, and an email will be coming to the owner whether he wants to accept or he wants to remove it. If you see only group owners can add members, all requests join will be automatically declined. And if you want owner approval, for example, you want the email to come to owner or anyone asking to join this group, owner is the one who will approve or decline it. And if you want, while leaving the group, how you want, right? Anyone can leave this group, or you want the owner to decide whether he can, whether that person can be, can go out of the group or not, right? If you click say close, even if the user want, they won't be able to go out of the group. If it is open, anyone can leave there, just like anyone can join the group, anyone can leave the distribution group. Okay. Next setting is like, these are the settings we have: group type, distribution, basic so and so, owner so and so. If you want to make changes, you can make changes over here. Setting again, what setting we saw over there, that's what we see over here. Then we'll click say create group. Now this group is created over here. Okay, close. Next is dynamic distribution group. Let's say add a group. We'll say mail enabled, sorry, dynamic distribution group. Next, let's say my DDG. Next, let's say all recipient type. That is member of this group, right? Who is the owner? I can put the owner here. Then only following recipient type will be able to send email, like user with exchange mailboxes, mail user with external. These are the options. Checkboxes means you can have multiple options, right? If it's a radio box, it's only one option. So when I say user with exchange mailboxes, right? User with exchange mailboxes should have. Then I want mail user with external email addresses should be part of DLL, or mail enable group should be there, mail contacts will be there. Whatever I select over here, based on that, those users will be added to my distribution group, dynamic distribution group. Now select condition. What condition do you want? Do you want company, department, or custom attributes which you want to set? Right? Custom attribute means there are 15 custom attributes which are there for any user. So you can set any custom attribute, or you can simply say department. Right? And now enter what department you say. For example, if I say IT, right? And if you want to add rule, again I'll say condition, company, right? I can similarly I can add multiple conditions, or then I can click on next. The setting is group email address. That is my DDG selected. Then next, these are the confirmation message which we have. Confirm this is what the setting will be there for DDL. I'll create a group. Close it. Next is mail enable security group. Okay, this many are mail enabled security group already I have in my inbox. So I'll click on add group. I'll say mail enabled security group. Okay, before we proceed, when you create it, right? It will, before creating it, tell you what it is. So send messages to all members of the group and give access to resources like OneDrive, SharePoint, and admin roles. Okay, this is what a mail enabled security group is. That's what we discussed earlier. Now, my security. Okay, this is the name I have given. Next, again, I have to assign owners to this. Okay. Then we'll have to add members to this. Now over here, you can add it now. Later on, when you have those users created, right? If you make changes to that department and select IT, those users will be automatically added over here. So for now, let us add it manually. Now over here, if you see, it's asking allow people outside my organization to send email to this mail-enabled security group or require owner approval to join the group, right? So based on what security you want, you can select the settings. Then you can click on next, and this is created. So this is how a mail security group is created. These are the types of groups we have, right? I'll be sharing with you guys a link to for trial tenant, right? To try for buy trial subscription. Once you have trial subscription, then we can do this testing in your lab. So everyone will have it in your lab, and whatever I'm doing on the session, you'll be able to do it on your client. So in the next session, I want you guys to make sure you have created your own subscription, right? That's number one. And you have created your own mailbox and groups which we have just created. Okay, that's one assignment to you guys. And if you're stuck, definitely you can let me know. Okay, yeah. Again, one more thing, like to know you guys is related to licenses. Please don't mess up over here. It'll be a problem. With the chat window. This is the link which will tell you regarding the licenses we have. Okay. And I'll share with you the trial license part. So this is from where you can purchase, go for a trial subscription, which will be there for 1 month, right? So you'll have to use separate, means one email ID for this month, another email ID for next month. If you want to buy the subscription, you can buy, or you can just use for trial. Is that clear?
Sir, how much the cost for this if we are buying?
If you buy it, it will be around, depending on which one you go for, right? E5, I think is around 2000 something per month. It's per user per month. So as many as you use, that many. Let me open that first. This one. It's per user. Even if you have taken subscription for 25 users, normally it comes for 25. But if you have used only for one user, you have to pay for one user only. If you see, for even it's basic, you don't get Outlook client in it. Well, this is because it is a US. This machine is connected to a US database. When I say US database, means I'm using a tenant from US. That's the reason it's showing me US prices over here. But if you check in your, if you open that link in your machine, you will be seeing in rupees. So I think somewhere around 1600 rupees is for E3. For E5, it is around 2000 something. Per user. So you can have one license as well. And these are the features which it will be having. E5 has most of the features, like you'll get security and everything. Still, there are some very premium features which will not be there in E5, like Azure Premium subscription and all those things. Apart from that, everything will be there in E5. It depends on what type of requirement you have. You can even have E1. In E1, you don't get yeah.
Sorry for interruption. Can you continue from tomorrow? Now it's going to 1 p.m.
From tomorrow. Yeah. Okay, I will stop here. So if you want, then we can connect tomorrow. Otherwise, we can connect on Saturday. How many of you are going to join tomorrow? We get around 600 people, at least 10 people, then we'll have tomorrow. Or you can go with this buy this. Sorry, try this trial tenant, and then we can take it from there. Because we started with 10, and then now I see only 5 participants. It's fine. Apart of even 5 people are getting it, I'm still happy. So what time you want tomorrow? Same timing?
Yes, sir. Sir, is it a Saturday or Sunday or
No, basically we decide on Saturday and Sunday because then people who are working in office, they won't be able to join Monday, right?
Yes, sir.
So Monday we kept for any queries, if you have any queries during your trial and all those things, because we don't want to spend time for testing during our normal session.
Okay, so for Sunday, Mondays, we can do a query, sir.
So Monday we'll have 1 hour session, basically from 12 to 1.
Okay, sir.
That's fine, right? If required, we'll increase it. But right now in the starting, because we don't want to hurry up. If you don't practice, you won't understand. To be very simple, because right now we have done through menu, right? It's directly from this thing, GUI, right? We'll be following with some PowerShell commands as well. So unless you know how to do it from GUI, those PowerShell commands, we will not be able to connect them properly. Connect them means correlate them with what we did manually through GUI. That's what I mean. Okay. So Samir Bhai or Nadeep Bhai, who is there? Let's make sure that we send an invite for tomorrow for 12 to 1. And let's mention that this is for like queries and for clearing doubts, basically. But if people feel that we need to start with new sessions, maybe from next week, we'll do that. That's all from me, guys, unless you have any other things.
Sir, weekly like that, Saturday, Sunday is okay, because Monday to Friday is totally.
Yeah, that's the. So what I mentioned on Monday is like if you have any queries or something, people who want to talk, we can have. Otherwise, main session we'll do on Monday to Saturday, Sunday only. Maybe we might increase some time. Yeah.
That's good. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, guys, then